New England Patriots fans, you already love the Drake, and our expert here today is going to tell you that if loving the Drake is wrong, you don't have to be right. Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots the daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Athlon Sports. So reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to Locked On Patriots, social media style, please follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And Pats fans, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is always an honor to be joined on Locked On Patriots by the amazingly insightful local experts we have here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And today, we have such an expert to tell us all about the new starting quarterback in Foxborough. Number 10 on your roster sheet, number 1 in your heart, Drake Maye. That is right. The Drake Maye era is about to begin in New England, and here to lend his expertise on the subject is a good friend of the program. He is the host of Locked On Tar Heels, as well as the host of Locked On College Basketball, my friend and colleague, Isaac Schade. Isaac, welcome back to Locked On Patriots. It's been a bit since the draft, but a lot of excitement in the air, and we're excited to have you here.
Oh, Mike, it's a pleasure to be back. I was wondering, man, when is this debut going to happen, and when would I be hanging out with you again? Got to be honest, it's happening a little sooner than I thought it would be, but here we are. It's time to do it. Let's get after it.
Absolutely, and I think it is a little earlier than a lot of Patriots fans expected, especially after head coach Gerard Mayo deciding to go with Jacoby Brissett right out of the gate, start him in the first 5 games, but obviously there have been a lot of offensive struggles for the New England Patriots, not all of which were Jacoby's fault, by the way, but a lot of it does come from quarterback play. And this Sunday, the Houston Texans, Gillette Stadium, 1 p.m. kickoff. The Pats are wearing the throwback red uniforms, one of the greatest looking jerseys in professional sports, the Pat Patriot white helmet. I've seen the field this week. It's got the Pat Patriots painted on. It's ready to go. You can't ask for a better marketing strategy for Drake's first game in a New England Patriots uniform. And because of that, Isaac, Patriots Nation is excited. Drake's excited. We talked to him this week. Using his own words, he is super pumped to get to work. Everyone's waiting to see the arm strength. We're all waiting to see the athleticism. But you got a chance to study Drake up close in your coverage of the Tar Heels. And you alluded to that the last time you were here post-draft about the type of quarterback that Drake Maye can become. We're on the cusp of that beginning. So based upon Drake's tenure in Chapel Hill and your coverage of him throughout the years, why should Patriots fans be optimistic heading into the Drake Maye era?
First, Mike, I'm sure when you were talking to Drake this week, you got a lot of yes, sir, and no, sir, and thank you, sir, and I'll see you on Sunday, sir, because that is Drake Maye, a good Southern boy. Anyway, here's the pure reason that I think there should be excitement is, first off, you just got the general rookie pop, right? Like there's just like a spark in the air. It's fall in New England, baby. It's going to be awesome at Gillette Stadium. Let's use those Gillette razors, get all shaved up, and we'll get after it. No, I think back to Drake's first game as a starter at Carolina, as the Tar Heels played Florida A&M in a week 0 game. Not many teams on the air and all going on. Drake Maye comes out and just ho-hum, throws for 5 touchdowns, run for 55 yards, 29 of 37. That's a 78% completion percentage. And I know it's Florida A&M, right? It's the Rattlers, whatever, fine. But it just comes out and does it. And what's so interesting is that whole offseason, Mac Brown had literally waited until that week, Mike, to reveal who was going to be the starter between he and Jacoby Criswell, who oddly enough is back as North Carolina's starter now after transferring to Arkansas and back. But Maye wins that out, and none of us had really any clue what to expect other than Drake Maye being a, someone whose dad had been North Carolina's quarterback. And then he comes out and just does this. And reminder contextually, North Carolina fans are coming out of the Sam Howell era, who I know hasn't quite panned out at the NFL level yet, but at that point was the best quarterback North Carolina had ever seen. And so it's like, okay, sure, what's Drake Maye going to do? And then boom, bursts onto the scene with those 5 touchdowns in his first performance, all through the arrow, by the way. And it's like, okay, we're off and running. So this is a young man who's going to be ready for the moment. And ultimately, all the preparation he's been doing from the day he could hold a football in his hands is leading to this moment.
That's a great point and great insight when it comes to someone, obviously, that has covered him and been intricately involved with his development throughout the years. There's been rumblings for the last couple of weeks, Isaac, that this move was in the works. And again, some people thought it might have been last week against the Miami Dolphins. Some people thought that the Patriots might opt to start Drake in jolly old England in Wembley Stadium against the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 7, figuring that if the kid sputters a little bit, it's not going to be in front of a hometown crowd. Again, it's going to be against the Texans this weekend, and that comes with a whole set of circumstances that could be a concern. Isaac and I are going to get into those in just a minute, but knowing everything that you know about this New England Patriots offense, why should New England Patriots fans be optimistic that Drake can turn this thing around when this offense has not given him a whole lot of confidence around him?
Because you know who else's offensive line was not good, Mike? The North Carolina Tar Heels. This is a young man who has dealt with I'll be a little less diplomatic, an incompetent offensive line for the last 3 years leading up to this one, and yet has persevered. We look at what North Carolina is this year, just as an example of everything he meant. The Tar Heels started off with a 3-0 record this season, but have lost 3 straight games now. And a massive part of it is not because there's a ton less talent at the skill positions. It's not because there's a ton less talent on the offensive line. It's pretty comparable to what Drake Maye had in those seasons, although there's not like a Josh Downs, who's now an Indianapolis Colt, for example, or Devontae Walker. All of that said, Drake was able to elevate that offense around him because of his legs, because of that beautifully crafted by God right arm that can just throw anywhere he needs to, but also do so with touch, right? And that is a balance and a skill set that not all people are given and crafted with. Drake has that ability, and he's used to, unfortunately, having to deal with an offensive line that's not going to give him a ton of time, as we've unfortunately seen the Patriots do this year so far. He's used to dealing with not having the elite of the elite at the skill positions, but, you know, good enough guys that can do it, and him having to help raise up who they are, and to be able to succeed in that way. Will Drake be immediately able to do so Sunday? We'll find out, but it's not going to be an overwhelming moment or situation for him. And I think that at least is encouraging to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you set a realistic expectation there because, again, excitement is very high here in New England right now. And a lot of people are expecting Drake to come in and all of a sudden make this offense look like the 2007 Patriots. And that is clearly an unrealistic expectation. Right. But again, you're also dealing with an offense that really has nowhere to go but up. And one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing is that off-script ability, that ability for Drake Maye to bring that rookie enthusiasm that you spoke with earlier, but combine it with exemplary skill. And I think we have to remember that, yes, this kid is exciting. Yes, he's off script. Yes, he can make plays that most quarterbacks dream of making, but there is intrinsic logistical skill that he brings to the table. You mentioned the touch, the velocity that he can put on the ball really allows him to make any throw required of him. And one of the things that his coaches, his teammates, this week, last week, really all throughout his tenure here, going back to training camp, that they really marvel at is his ability to make the throws, his ability to break down and read coverages, showing a wisdom beyond his years. I think that's why you're going to see him a little earlier. And again, that exceptional athleticism, when the play breaks down, he's got the agility, that instinct to turn those off-script options into big gains. And that's not something the Patriots have been able to do under Jacoby Brissett for a lot of different reasons. I think Drake's ability to go off script and make that happen a little bit more is going to help to mask some of the problems along that offensive line. But you mentioned the word incompetent before, my friend. And It's a concern in New England because this offensive line has not been up to the level that Patriots fans hoped, and definitely not up to the level that the New England Patriots would have hoped to put a rookie quarterback behind. But such is life. This is where we are, week 6 in the NFL, folks, and the New England Patriots starting Drake Maye against the Houston Texans. This offensive line may provide some difficulty for Drake. How is he going to be able to handle that adversity, and how will he handle not having his top running back in the fold this week? Yeah, that's right, folks. Word coming down shortly before Isaac and I started recording. Rhamondre Stevenson officially out for Sunday's game. A lot of Antonio Gibson. What does it mean for the Pats offense led by Drake Maye? Isaac Schade and I will discuss that and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Listen up, Locked On listeners. When it comes to daily fantasy sports, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And what I love most about Prize Picks is that it puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. And when you sign up today, you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when downloading the app today and using the code LOCKEDONNFL. Prize Picks. Run your game. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. Joining me is the host of Locked On Tar Heels, the host of Locked On College Basketball, my friend and Locked On Podcast Network colleague, Isaac Schade. And Isaac, we have been talking about Drake Maye, a name, once again, you know very well, a name you've covered, a gentleman you've gotten an opportunity to know not only logistically on the field, but also personally. Patriots fans are excited to watch Drake this Sunday against the Houston Texans, but we're being realistic. This Houston Texans team does pose somewhat of a problem, and it could be a trial by fire. New England's offensive line has been one of the big reasons why this offense has sputtered so much. Jacoby Brissett definitely deserves a slice and a major slice of the blame pie, but it's not entirely all on him. This offensive line is allowing a league best, or a league worst, I should say, if we're really being honest, 48.3% pressure on all of Jacoby's dropbacks. Yeah. So naturally, this offensive line is going to have quarterbacks running for their lives. One of the things we're hearing about Drake is that the athleticism and the off-script nature of the way he plays the game, playing out of the shotgun, things of this nature are going to allow him a little bit more leeway and maybe a greater opportunity to mask some of the problems that the Patriots are having on the offensive line, especially on the left side. When you look at Drake's game and you look at this Patriots offensive line and what they're noted for being deficient in, why should Patriots fans either be optimistic or should they be concerned about the potential of Drake Maye's development behind this O-line and behind an offense that's really not living up to expectation right now?
I think, truthfully, Mike, there's a little bit of everything you just said mixed into that. One of the phrases you just used was something I'm talked a lot about in the Drake Maye era in North Carolina. His ability to mask deficiencies in the North Carolina offense that other quarterbacks would not be able to do, which is, again, what's happening this year in Chapel Hill. Because of Drake Maye's ability to say, oh, no, everything's breaking down around me. Oh, look, God gave me really fast legs and I can get out and around it and be able to do that in, a second or two, which is what you got to do when, this offensive line is allowing things to break down as quickly as they are. And so you kind of talked in the last segment a little bit about those off script moments. And man, it is those backyard football moments where Drake Maye makes his highlight reel things. I want to see how he handles the non-breakdown moments. That's going to be a key, not only Sunday, but long-term for his success with the Patriots. But what people are going to be wowed by is him escaping the pocket, realizing, oh, my throwing arm is literally being held down by two defenders. So I'm going to put the ball in my left hand and throw a touchdown. Like, those are the moments that you will remember and laugh at how ridiculously insane they were, but they happened. And so I'm looking to see, will there be the backyard football moments? Because those probably going to have to be, right, in order to be any level of success because of what you talked about with the offensive line. But also along with that, what's interesting to me, Mike, is getting into the numbers some, despite how often the offensive line has allowed pressures. Like from some of the PFF numbers I was looking at, 59 pressures allowed in under 2.5 seconds, which is tied with the Giants right now for worst in the NFL. And in a PFF article I was actually reading about it, the author said, quote, surprisingly, opposing defenses haven't blitzed often, with the Patriots facing a blitz on just 30.8% of dropbacks, ranking 22nd in the league. What's funny to me about that, Mike, is it's actually not shocking or surprising to me at all. Why? Because there's not really a need to blitz, because defenses are getting home even without doing so. And I know the Texans, as you said, we'll get into it, and they blitz more and whatever. But what that might afford is the opportunity for Drake to have a little bit more processing time in this week. We'll see how it plays out, right? If the Texans, where those numbers come. Now, if I'm the Texans, I'm coming all at this rookie quarterback, make him make those split second decisions. But I'm waiting to see just exactly how he processes everything around him, especially knowing, as you just said, that Stevenson won't be out there with him. How will Gibson hold up in pass pro? And all of that kind of conversation is going to be a big part of this. But ultimately, the good news for Pats fans is that when things break down, Drake Maye will have the ability to scramble and run, and athletic enough to do so, and has the frame big enough to not be a Kyler Murray who's just cowering behind the offensive line kind of thing. Like, he's got the frame that can hold up to some of that. And so he's going to have to be able to do that, but also know the moments when to do it and not. Can't leave early, has to process all that. When can I actually step up and deliver a strike versus when do I need to bail and get out?
Yeah, very good point. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because one of the biggest issues with the Jacoby Brissett-led offense right now, Isaac, here in New England, has been the lack of anticipation in the passing game, and Jacoby holding the ball maybe a little bit too much in times where wide receivers are getting open. Maybe the pocket is holding up, and Jacoby is under pressure on so much of a regular basis and that he became a little gun shy. Drake is a little bit more, I think, equipped to be that type of athletic quarterback that the Patriots need, but pro-level quarterbacks can sometimes get stuck in quicksand. I know you're a fan of the replacements. I am too, folks. Yeah, I get the Shane Falco reference there. But it is, I think, a very good analogy here to use moving forward for a young quarterback. Something goes wrong on the field, and then another, and then another. Drake Maye hasn't had that trial by fire in the NFL as of yet, but I know he's gone through a lot of adversity as the quarterback of the North Carolina Tar Heels. So based on what you know from Drake's experience in college, his makeup, and your experience covering him and knowing the type of demeanor that he's going to bring to the field on Sunday, is there a concern, or should Patriots fans be concerned that a poor performance or a breakdown of the players around him could stunt his growth as an NFL quarterback? Because there is some concern right now from Patriots fans that anything that goes majorly wrong on Sunday could have a detrimental effect.
I certainly have concern about that as well, Mike. Like, is this the right time to bring him in from is it the right, I don't want to say season. Is it the right just moment with the what's going on around at the kind of macro level for the Patriots to be able to put Drake in the best position, or quarterback X, whoever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be successful. One thing that's encouraging to me about Drake specifically is that he is so even keel and mentally strong that he, while we're using media references, like goldfish in it in a very whatchamacallit soccer Jason Sudeikis sort of way. I can't even think of the show name. But like the ability to just next play move on and not let that get him down and frustrated and out. He's not somebody, I felt like I saw that, for example, with Caleb Williams at USC. As things go wrong, one bad play can turn into two, and two can turn into three, just from a mental standpoint. Or if we could go to another movie reference, Draft Day, where homie doesn't get drafted number 1 overall, the number 1 clear consensus quarterback, and he runs out, and P. Diddy has to go get him and bring him back in, which that's kind of wild now that we're referencing him. But
Yeah,
that's not Drake Maye. Drake Maye has the ability to stay composed and comported and process things and say, why did that happen? Now, it's going to be at a completely different speed, obviously, than he had to do at the NCAA level. And I get that and I hear that. But it's somebody that I would at least trust to be able to move in that direction. And that's encouraging to me. Where my concern does lie with it is in college, Drake had a tendency to be a hero with his body sometimes, not in a holding the ball too long sort of way, but like, I'm going to Superman to try to get this first down instead of sliding and living to fight another day. Right. And so that's where my concern would lie, is that he's so willing to put team above body, even though you're the potential franchise quarterback and I need you to slide and get down and live to fight another day. Please, dear God, says Drake Maye. Right. And so I think that's where my concern lies, is that he needs to be maybe a little bit more selfish, if that makes sense.
Actually, I think that makes a lot of sense. And it really kind of feeds into what we heard from Alex Van Pelt earlier this week, in saying that one of the big things that he wanted to work with Drake on when he first walked through the door was the art of temperance. Learning when it was okay for you to have to take the team on your back and be able to try to make things happen, and also learn when it's okay to take the check down. It's okay to throw the ball away. You don't necessarily have to make something happen on every drop back, every throw. That's common with a college quarterback, usually because they are playing with talent that maybe they have exceeded or maybe they have eclipsed in terms of their pro level readiness. But I think Alex also is trying to help to develop that as well with Drake when it comes to his mechanics, helping him lead the shotgun, with a little bit better mechanics that's going to help him at the pro level, his footwork, arm placement. And these are so important for NFL quarterbacks to be able to succeed, and especially young ones. As far as the mental aspect, I think everyone's expecting him to be able to handle anything that's thrown at him. I just want to make sure, obviously, that he stays healthy. And unfortunately, that's a risk that Patriots have to take in this situation. But it's good to know that we will see that off-script ability, and we will see a mentally tough quarterback that's going to be able to handle some of the hits. Because, folks, unfortunately, it looks like there will be some hits at least thrown at Drake. How many land may be up to him, maybe up to his offensive line, but this Houston Texans team is very tough, and they're going to look at the blueprint of the way the Patriots have been beat lately. They might actually make some tweaks to that. I'm going to put Isaac on the hot seat in just a moment, and we're going to talk about how Drake specifically fits against this Texans defense. Not going to want to miss this, folks. Stick around, because this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast is about to wrap up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, when you place your first $5 bet. So if you're feeling pretty good about the chances of your favorite New England sports team, you can test your intuition and make the most of it with FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Pats fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots. Joining me here is the host of Locked On Tar Heels, someone who knows Patriots starting quarterback Drake Maye very well, my friend and colleague Isaac Schade, and we're discussing Drake Maye's readiness as an NFL quarterback, some causes for concern, and in just a moment we're going to talk about his readiness to face a ferocious Texans defense. But first, if you've made Locked On Patriots your first listen today, special tip of the cap and a definite thank you to all of you out there, especially all of you everydayers that make Locked On Patriots possible. If you've made us your first listen, we also implore you to make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On NFL. Locked On NFL has all the major storylines all across the NFL Shield, broken down and analyzed for you by our amazing team of analysts right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Much like Locked On Patriots, Locked On NFL is free and available on all platforms. And of course, we also want to give a plug and make sure that you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels each and every day and Locked On College Basketball, because Isaac is the best in the business and you're not going to want to miss when he puts voice to microphone. All the shows, all proudly available on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And folks, the time for the talk is just about over. Your New England Patriots are about to host the Houston Texans 1 p.m. this Sunday, October 13th at Gillette Stadium. And Isaac, it's going to be a fun debut for everyone involved. All that are heading to the stadium this weekend are looking forward to seeing Drake Maye in those red throwbacks, but they're looking forward to seeing their future on the field. The face of the franchise has been crowned. Some, myself included, are a little surprised that maybe the Patriots made the move now with this Texans defense, knowing how much they love to be able to make life difficult for young quarterbacks. In their Week 2 matchup with the Chicago Bears, the Houston Texans intercepted Caleb Williams twice and sacked him 7 times. So you know that this Texans defense is going to be looking at a young rookie about to make his debut. As talented as Drake is, they have to be looking at this and saying, hey, we're the third-ranked defense when it comes to DVOA. We are the top-ranked defense when it comes to quarterback pressuring at 42% of a rate. Yeah, we're going to give this New England Patriots team some problems. And that may be compounded by the fact that the formula to beat the New England Patriots, which is usually stacking the box to stop the run, blitzing, not abundantly, but enough to be able to keep the quarterback off balance, playing man coverage, those single high safety looks. They've been very successful against Jacoby and the Pats, forcing Jacoby Brissett to hold the ball and make the Patriots pass catchers beat you. Now, this is where Drake Maye can elevate that type of an offense. However, with Rhamondre Stevenson out, the Texans may not be so dedicated to stacking the box. They may look at Drake and say, look, this is his wheelhouse. We have to prevent him from being able to beat us. So against the Texans specifically, Isaac, how do you think Drake is going to attack this Texans defense?
And you're spot on, Mike, because like even looking at like total defense, for example, the Texans 4th overall in total offense, or, you know, total defense allowed, and 3rd in passing. And so it's like, I'm right with you. I think that is the game plan. Despite the fact that Drake Maye can beat you with his arms or legs, let's make us beat him with his arm. We might sink back a little bit and do it, because as we talked about earlier, you don't have to blitz like crazy to get home against this offensive line. So let's change our game script a little bit, maybe try to get in his head by not giving him what he's been seeing from us on tape all week long, see if he can handle processing a different look than what he thought he might be getting, because that's another wrinkle in how this could go. And so even going back to what you said earlier, Mike, like it is shocking to me that this is the week, because 3 of the next 4 opponents for the Patriots, Texans, Jets, Titans, are top 4 in total defense and the top 3 teams in total passing defense, mixed in with next week, as you said, against the Jags in England, who are, oh, by the way, next to last in the NFL in total offense per game, and dead last in passing yards allowed per game. So I'm right with you. Like, first off, before we even talk Texans, it's crazy to me to go ahead and do it this week. Wait till next week. And then, sure, I get that there's no breaks. Slide them in against the Jets, but that's another home game. Why not at least give them a nice on-ramp there against the Jaguars in Wembley? and then come back and face a tough defense in the Jets and then the Titans in Nashville. So that whole kind of thing is a little confounding to me. But ultimately against the Texans, he's just going to have to be steeled for whatever it is. I think it's ultimately about, like, good grief, I'm so sorry for all these movie references. I'm thinking back to Cool Runnings and just sitting in the bathtub while the rest of the whole team is out partying it up, just going through all the turns through his mind. It's like, it's got to be that level of preparation for Drake of what are all the various possibilities and wrinkles that this team could throw at me? What have I seen in my life, whether Pop Warner, high school, college, or now? What are the wrinkles and possibilities? And how do I survive against this Texans defense and then just be ready to roll with that?
Yeah, without any question. First of all, you need not apologize for the movie references. My listeners are definitely used to that. More movie references, the better here on Locked On Patriots. But you're spot on when it comes to the pressure and it comes to what Drake is going to be dealing with. And you look at someone like a Danielle Hunter, who right now is leading the league with 29 quarterback pressures. You look at Will Anderson, who leads the team with 2.5 sacks. This is a front seven that can get after the passer, and they're going to try to do it. It doesn't get much easier in the secondary with Derek Stingley Jr. back there waiting for the opportunity to be able to make a play on these Patriots receivers. So again, yeah, Drake is going to have to elevate the team around him. But if Drake starts to struggle a little bit, then is this team around him enough to be able to carry him, enough to be able to elevate him, bring him back to where he needs to be? That's what I worry about. It's not so much about whether or not the kid is ready. I believe the kid was ready week one. I think he could have been the starting quarterback for this team. Probably a smart move by this Patriots team to bring him along, continue to cultivate that skill set. You throw him in week 6. I probably would have done it in week 7, but you're dealing with a week here. If you think that's a semantical argument, I get it. I can understand it. No. But at the same time, I worry about what the Patriots around him are going to be able to do if Drake starts to struggle. And that's why I worry about this Texans matchup, because the Texans match well with this Patriots offense in every aspect. And yes, the Texans offense might be a little compromised right now. They're without Nico Collins. They may not be able to put up the type of points they're used to putting up, but they still got Stephon Diggs. That's going to be a matchup against Christian Gonzalez. Christian's going to have to be at the top of his game. I expect him to be, but he will need to be as good as he's been to stop Stephon Diggs. And you still got guys like Tank Dell that can make plays. You still got guys like John Mechie that can come off and be strong receivers for this club. And Joe Mixon looks like he's going to be back in the mix. And if Mixon's back in the mix, then all of a sudden now you're looking at Mixon. Dameon Pierce is coming back. This Texans offense may be getting a little bit more of a stride than we expected earlier this week. So, folks, it's going to be a tough one for the New England Patriots without question. But the one thing I think we can all agree on is that I think Drake Maye is up to this challenge. Would you say he is, Isaac, based on everything we've talked about here today?
I've not seen him face a challenge that he wasn't ready for. So there's no reason in my mind to think that it will start now. And will there be some speed bumps? Absolutely. Will there be moments where he makes a rookie mistake? Absolutely. And I think that is the reality that we have to just be ready for, that there's going to be some highlight moments. There's going to be some rookie moments, but ultimately this is the beginning of the next chapter in New England Patriots football. Oh, by the way, remembering another quarterback who did a great job of elevating those around him. And he's sitting in a booth now, but I think there is hope that this could be the next version of that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think Patriots fans would love to see something like that happen. And although number 12 is revered as someone that'll only come around once in a lifetime up here in New England, and rightfully so, sure. I think a lot of fans are hoping that number 10 may be remembered with similar type of reverence in the years to come here in New England. But folks, drop us a line below. Let us know what you think about the game this weekend. I've been very vocal. I think this is a tough matchup for the Patriots. I think it's a tough matchup for Drake, but I think it's a tough matchup for the Patriots offensively and defensively. And because of that, I think they're going to be able to move the ball on what has been a Patriots defense that has begun to show their signs of struggle lately. Based on that, I think the Texans take this game on Sunday 24-21, but you're going to see a lot of exciting moments from Drake Maye, and that offense will come alive But bottom line, Isaac, I appreciate you joining us here today, helping us get ready for the Drake Maye era. You've given us a lot more positives than negatives, and we are definitely grateful to you for that, because there haven't been a whole lot of positives here in New England up until this point. So, folks, you can check out Isaac each and every day on the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. Check out his great work on Locked On College Basketball. And, of course, from time to time, he will continue to be a good friend of the program when we drop him back in to talk about things that are happening with number 10 under center and at the quarterback position, and that is his good friend Drake Maye. Folks, we encourage you, if you're heading up to Gillette this weekend, to please do so responsibly, stay safe, stay well, and don't forget, our good friend and colleague Cam Stewart has you covered with the Locked On Boston Patriots postcast the moment that final whistle sounds in Foxborough. And of course, I'll be coming at you with postgame on Sunday as well. In the meantime, on behalf of Isaac Schade, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you all to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and we'll see you back here again real soon on Locked On Patriots.